Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Quick disclaimer before I continue. I'm doing my laundry because I am my own house girl. I'm my own cleaning lady. I am my own chef. I'm my own everything. But yeah, that needs to change very soon. Now, because I don't have that luxury, you're gonna hear this noise in the background. I'm just doing my laundry because I need to do it. Anyways, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I forgot, I'm gonna take it again. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Whether you're a long-time subscriber or a brand new viewer, I appreciate your support and I'm excited to share my content with you. So sit back, relax and enjoy the content. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you can stay up to date with all the latest videos. In this video, the first of its kind, we'll be talking about work. Am I the only one who the workspace has changed in a big way? Changed my character in so many ways. I actually just went there to make money, but the workplace has changed me into someone I never thought I would be and forced me to adult so fast. Let's just catch up on it a little bit before we dive into what we're talking about today. First thing, work has really made me develop like some really thick skin. Work has forced me to ignore things. I'm the person who doesn't leave or let anything slide, but the workspace has actually made me ignore a lot of things. The workspace has turned me into someone I'm not, in terms of like, I feel like I'm so uptight even in my friendships. Like I'm just forever guarded and I just don't like that about myself, but it's all because of my workplace. What else has the workspace done? The workspace has kind of taught me to be quiet and know when to talk. Yeah, interesting. Anyways, we spend 90% of our lives at work, and that is a lot of time. And so because of that, it's the one aspect of our lives that I feel we need to talk about a lot, but we don't. We're always talking about every other thing, aspects of our lives, relationships, friendships, marriage, health, but we actually never touch work. And I feel like work could actually be one that spreads into all these other aspects of your life. You may agree, you may not agree, but if you listen to this vlog, watch this vlog, you might actually realize what I'm trying to say. Anyways, without further ado, let's just dive right into it. So first up, let's talk about how to find work. Now, finding work in this competitive space currently is not easy. It's not joking. It can really be overwhelming. Scrolling, and they keep asking for things you do not have. Like someone asking you for 5 years experience and you just graduated. Someone asking you for some additional papers that you don't have. But let's look at simple ways that you can actually make it and find an edge in such a competitive space. I'll tell you my story. So when I went to uni, we actually used to have community service every academic year, I think. Yes, every academic year, one of the holidays for 3 weeks. Was it 4 weeks? We used to, or was it 2 weeks? I can't remember pretty well, but I know we had community service, and this community service was basically giving back to society for free. And they would give us a form, and that form would have to be signed, and at the end you'd have to bring it back. So I used to volunteer at a mentally handicapped adult school of sorts. And to be honest, when I started, I just was doing it because it was a requirement by the university. But as soon as I graduated, and you know that time when you've graduated, you're just looking for a simple job to do, and then before you transition to the next thing, whether you're going back to school or you are moving to work. So there was that space, and I needed to do something constructive because I needed to do something constructive. So I went back to where I was volunteering and giving back to society, and decided to request them if I could actually be going there for be volunteering with them for maybe 2 hours a week. It looked okay, but that's the much I could offer because it was not paying me. I needed bus fare, I needed airtime, I needed those nitty-gritties. So that was just me giving my time back to society. It was it really forced me to grow because I was coming from a private uni, and here I was going literally into the world to start this work, quote unquote. But it was such a learning journey, and to date I'm so glad I actually took it up. Why? Because when I started looking for a job, I actually put it as one of the things I did on my CV, my resume. Those of you who call it resume, I put it out there that I worked in a mentally handicapped school, okay? And I put down the things I did, and I'll be very honest with you. If you've never worked with mentally handicapped people, it is a different ballgame altogether. Every day is so different because everything is pegged on moods, emotions, and how they feel. And so you can have a very great day today. What am I saying? You can actually just have a few hours, like great hours, great minutes together, and then the escalation, it turns so fast and you're on the other side. So that actually taught me to be very flexible with my perspective, taught me to be patient because I was working with mentally handicapped people. I couldn't have the same expectations I'd have for normal people, okay? They are gifted differently. So it taught me patience, it taught me flexibility, it taught me how to learn to listen and read the room, observe the mood, know when to say what. I just didn't know this was actually going to be very useful. Or rather, I didn't think then that it was going to be useful. But then when I got to my next part in life, I actually applied a lot of these skills that I had learned during my giving back to society, okay? So anyways, in my curriculum vitae, I put it out there that I was a volunteer and all that. And that somehow actually gave me an edge when I was looking for an entry point to my first job, okay? So what am I saying in many words? Do not think volunteering is not helpful. When you're busy volunteering out there, you could actually end up making strategic relationships, strategic connections that could actually help you in your next level, help you in your next season, open doors, because then you just don't know. Someone knows someone and someone knows someone else who could be needing your services, who could be needing to tap into your talent. You know, life is just interesting, but you need to be out there. So if you've just currently graduated, currently finished your Form 4, don't sit at home and feel miserable because then you don't know someone and you don't have anything to do. Go out there, volunteer. 2 hours a week is not a lot of time. I started with 2 hours a week, and before I knew it, I was doing like every day an hour. I ended up adding it to 5 hours. So when I went for my interview, one of the things I was asked was based on my volunteer work. And that actually gave me such an edge because I was able to quote some of the skills I had learned from there and how those skills were going to be helpful and very important in my job that I was interviewing for. Imagine, just like that. Please volunteer. It may look like you're a joke, but just volunteer. It's such a good way of giving back to society, but it also just puts you out there. You don't know who's who. That's the thing about life. You actually don't know who's who, number one, and two, every day should be an occasion for you to show up and show out what you're good at, what you're very good at, and what you can do. As you show up and show out with your gifts and talents, also show up and show out with your dressing. You just never know who you could bump into or meet. Always look good. Okay, let me carry on. Okay, now the next part I want us to talk about is when you get an interview. No, let's not talk about when you get an interview. Let's talk about how to write your CV, your resume, and make it capture the things you've done and what the person who's hiring is looking for. Number one, you need to know what you're looking for. What is it you want to do? When I was younger, I believed that I wanted to do what I liked. I was all about passion and all these things. And I remember having a conversation with my dad when I was starting, and I was about passion. And then after like 2 years, he checked in and I said, actually, it's the money. I know, I sound selfish, but let's be real. Let's just be real. As you grow up, you realize it's not about the passion. It's about how good you can get the job done and get paid, get compensated for your great work, for your great services. Okay, so let's talk about the process of writing your CV and making it look ready to give you an edge out there. First up, you need to do your research on the organization that you're applying to. The other thing you need to do is to make sure that you capture all the bits and bobs of things you've done. 2 sentences, 3 sentences. That means if you have like a lot of experience. But then if you do not have a lot of experience, then it gives you time to really expound on what exactly it is you've done. Do your research on the organization. Look at the mission statement, vision statement. Pick in the keywords that can help tailor make your CV or your resume. After you've done that, research on the job description that you are actually going to apply for. Get to know what the job description entails, and then that way, as you're reading that, it helps you to know how to word your document. Okay, after that, now you've been selected for the interview. Now you need to prepare for the interview. This is where you actually get to sell yourself. The first thing you need to do is you need to prepare. Interviews, you need to prepare. Again, go back to the vision and mission of the organization. Study it. Pick the keywords. Look at the 21st century character. What is expected? What are those 21st century skills that are needed? Pick them out, use them in preparing for your interview. Put down your weaknesses, because sometimes they will ask you for what are your weaknesses. You need to know. And this is not the time for you to start saying, I can fight or something like that. I'm lazy. No. Talk about professional weaknesses, like I am a perfectionist and it takes me time to prepare and execute things, and that way I may need a lot of time to be able to get things ready. However, I am working on it, and put it out there how you're working on it, and that you would appreciate if you worked with someone who would support you in your journey of working on your weakness. This is how you show that you're meek, you're teachable, and people in the hiring panel like people who are meek and have a teachable spirit, because they're easy to work with. Okay, so your interview, how do you go about it? Prepare. Once you've prepared, it's one thing to prepare well and then not be able to execute well. Execution is also equally important. Remain calm. If the question is not very clear, ask, I beg your pardon. If you don't understand, it's okay for you to say, do you mean this? Seek clarification so that it's clear. The other thing that has always worked for me in my interviews is I don't take my interviews as interviews. I turn them into little chats, so that I'm not intimidated and scared. I'm calm, and so I talk to these people like I am selling to them my ideas. I'm selling to them what I'm actually bringing to the organization. I'm selling to them what they are missing in the organization and that they would benefit if they took me in. So you need to convince them, and that's why you cannot do that if you're not calm. So you have to always remain calm during your interview. So you finish your interview, you need to have two questions for the panelists. This shows that you're probably looking forward. Talk about maybe growth opportunities. Talk about how does the management, or how do they support new staff to settle in. Just find something and ask. When they ask you, do you have a question, don't look like you don't have a question. It reflects really badly on you, because it looks like you're not prepared. It also shows that you are just winging it, and you don't want that winging it attitude, being read in you like the very first time. Those can be your bad habits once you settle down, but not like on the first impression. First impressions are always key. That's when people actually decide if they're taking you on or not. So you have to be spot on. Do your research, prepare yourself, do the interview by yourself in a mirror, repeat the questions, ask, how do I put it? Ask yourself like spoiler questions and try to put yourself in situations and how you would handle that. That's equally important. So now we've secured the job. I mean, you can do all that and not secure the job. We've secured the job. Now we're moving forward. You get into the work environment. I'm just going to list these things and leave it at that, So first up, we've secured the job and now we're moving forward. The first thing you need to do and need to know is that is your workplace. That is your professional space. Do not mix issues. Pleasure and business, work and pleasure, business and pleasure. Just have boundaries. That's the first thing I'd say. And I learned this the hard way. Don't talk about your personal life at your workplace. This is the time for you to settle down and learn from the people who've been in the game for a while. Identify a mentor who you admire their work professionally. Watch them, learn, upskill, because you need to show your mastery and your excellence. Upskill. Watch YouTube videos, do short courses so that you're always with it. Go for trainings. Read on Pinterest what are other teachers around the world doing. Go on social media, check what are other educators around the world, or whatever your career is, what are people doing. Stay with the times. You need to be ahead of the game. You need to know your stuff. So this is the part where you learn. Sit down, observe, especially if you're just a new graduate, you're in an entry position. Learn, be proactive, be willing to, sacrifice a little bit, especially if you're starting, willing to sacrifice a little bit so that you can do something. Identify things that you're good at that could benefit your organization, but also benefit you. It should be two-way. You're benefiting, they're benefiting. It shouldn't be one way. They're only benefiting. No. Boundaries, very important. What can I say to my colleagues and I cannot say to my friends? What can I say to my friends and I cannot say to my colleagues? Leave work at work. Don't take things personal. You're young at the workplace. You're younger than the other people at the workplace. Age will always be a problem. People will always feel like you need to respect them because you're younger. That's not the case. Nobody hired you for your age. You were hired because you could deliver. So separate that. Focus. Get the job done. Do your job well so that nobody will come to you and say, this young, this new hire, this newbie is not. The moment you're a newbie, all eyes are on you. People will say things. She knows this person. She knows this person and that's why she was favored. Don't give them the ammunition to use against you. And that's why you need to know your stuff. Mastery, excellence, very important. Upskill, observe, meekness, be willing to learn, listen. You're new in the game, listen a lot, say less. Yes, I know you're upscaling. Yes, I know you're learning. Yes, I know you're working with your mentor, your professional mentor. But please, can you keep your mouth quiet so that you can learn by observing, by listening, yeah? That will also really help you a lot. Be cordial at the workplace. Be cordial at the workplace. Don't be nice. You'll be used. The other thing I also just learned as I carried on learning a lot about my career. If you're going to be too good, be too good that the organization doesn't want to lose you. That's mastery and that's excellence. Do not just be average because you will be used a lot. You'll be used to train that new trainee. Nobody will pay you for that. Be careful when you get into agreements at work. Read the policies. Inform yourself. Make sure you know what you need to do when what happens. Very important. The most important thing, you will learn to ignore a lot. But this will come through experiences. There's competition at work. Even that person you think is your friend is competing with you. They're not there because they're your friend, and that's where the boundaries come in. Boundaries, they don't care about you. They will make it look like you're together, but no, you're not together. A few friendships take off from the workplace and carry on into life. But most of the time, it's just like, this person is my competitor and you have to be very careful. So that's why you have to always remain focused and remember why you went there in the first place. Remember that day when you were editing your CV, you were alone. Remember that day when you were actually preparing for your interview, you were alone. Remember that day you went in for your interview, you were alone. That alone should always remind you that at the workplace, you are on your own. You are never a group. People will throw opinions and everything. Do not be caught up and sucked up in people's opinions. Learn to always separate yourself from the crowd and be a person of your own. We all know how the workspace can get, but it's your responsibility as an adult who signed the contract to always remember to be a person of your own self. Boundaries, I told you, be a person of your own self. Meekness, remember to be meek. Be willing to learn. Flexibility, be very flexible. Things change all the time, and that's why you should be very flexible. Don't take things to heart at the workplace. It's the workplace. When you're done, leave it there, pick it up tomorrow morning. Separate your personal life from your work life. Your relationships, you can have your work friends, have them as your work friends. Cordial. Have your personal life personal. Have your friends out of work. Do your things with your friends out of work. And just have these two things as two separate lives. These are things I'm telling you because I wished someone would have told me this in my early 20s, but experience. I had to learn through experience. And I've said on this vlog before, I think it was the vlog on lessons I've learned in my adulthood. There is nothing as painful as learning from your own experience. It is not funny, it's not a joke, but you learn anyway. But then that's the lesson you never forget because of how painful it was, it is, it can be. So I think those are some of the things you want to keep in mind. I will stop here at this point in time and just give you time to watch this vlog again and see what you can pick from it, take notes, share with your friends, and yeah, you should be able to navigate and go around situations as the best way you can. Remember, there's no manual. We try to share as much as we can of things we've gone through, but they may work sometimes, but sometimes you may have to tailor make them to your situation. But I bet that's it from Adulting with Alumira today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, comment and share. And I think we'll see you again in our next session on all things work. And until next time, I've been your host with the most, Alumira.